Hey y'all, it's another Gettin Real with Ashley Dawn. I'm Ashley Dawn and I want to get real with you. Recently, I went through some just old memories and like flashbacks of the past, and I wanted to share it with you because this is getting real. 13 years ago, I got married to somebody that I thought we were going to have a future together. I sat next to this little old lady at church, and for a long time, her name was Joanne. She was very sweet, and her husband, Alan, and they were just the sweetest people. And they kept telling me about their grandson and how wonderful and godly he was, and so I agreed to meet him. And of course, he was very charming. He said all the right things. He did all the right things. He came and he started courting me. Now, for people that don't know what that is, courting is when somebody pursues you, gets to know you for the opportunity to work towards a marriage. It's not just dating. There's a purpose, and that purpose is marriage. And so this guy and I, we dated, he courted me, and 3 months into courting me, he decided that he wanted to marry me, and he proposed in the most romantic way possible. And I, crazily, after 3 months, said yes, under the condition that we would have a long engagement and continue getting to know each other and working towards marriage. He loved the Lord, I love the Lord. I thought that's all you needed to have a successful marriage. Turns out you need more than that. You need a friendship, you need communication, you need trust. You need to know that that person is going to be your ride or die, that they are going to have your back, that they are going to pray over you and lead you in a godly way, that you're going to submit one to another, that you are going to be better together than apart, that they are going to add to your life and not take away from it. And so we had a year engagement, and then when our wedding day came on May 18th, we got married and we said our vows, and I bawled my eyes out. And there were little things along the way that were kind of like a check in my spirit, where I was like, for instance, my dad, when I was outside of the chapel, the church, when we got married, he said, "Ash, you don't have to do this." And I said, instead of, "I love this guy, I can't imagine my life without him," I said, "Yes, I do, Daddy. My little girls are counting on me." And I was a mentor for middle and high school age girls, and they were my junior bridesmaids, and there was about 16 of them. And I didn't want to let them down because they were so excited. That was what I was thinking. That was the most important thing to me on my wedding day, was not letting the girls that I mentored down. Obviously, I was 25 then, now I'm 39 now. I can look back and say, I should have sat in that for a minute, and I should have went away to myself and prayed and really spent time with God, and I didn't. And if you're engaged or you're dating or you're going to be married, one of the biggest things I can say is make your wedding day more about your relationship with God and your relationship with your future husband than about the party, than about your dress, than about your flowers, than about your guests, than about anybody else there. Make sure that God is pleased and that your future partner in life is happy. Those two things are what you should care about. Not how much money it is, not how fancy it is, not how perfect the food and the menu is going to be and all the little details. I fell into the trap of distraction. I was so focused on how everybody was going to feel and people that were flying into town and the perfect seating chart. And I hand designed my dress and my hair and my makeup and my cowboy boots that I wore on my wedding day. And I was so focused on the perfect wedding that I really neglected praying as much as I should have, spending time with my dad, spending time alone with God. I was so busy the day of, I didn't have time to think, to stop, to pray, to spend time with God. And if you're a Christian, that should be your number one thing you do every day. You should be spending time with God, hearing from the Holy Spirit. What does God say about this? What is God speaking in my heart? I wish that I could go back. Hindsight's 2020. I can look back and be like, you know what? Things might have been different if I did this, but the ifs will kill you. If you keep going and what if I did this, what if I did that, it'll drive you bananas. So I'm not telling you to do that. But if you are not married, and if you are wanting to be married one day, please, please, please schedule time to just sit at God's feet the day of your wedding, the night before your wedding. Hear from God, because you might be getting ready to make the biggest mistake of your life. You might be getting ready to make the biggest blessing of your life too. It goes both ways. But I look back and I have a lot of regrets. I'm not here to put down my ex. I'm not here to bash his name. I truly believe God has good and perfect plans for everybody on this earth. I just think sometimes we get in the way of God's plans and we don't listen to God. And I know several times in our marriage and our relationship, he did not listen to God. He was in sin, he was in addiction, and he was living a double life, and I didn't know about that, and I didn't discover it until after we were married. And when I asked him why he didn't tell me, we did marriage counseling before we went. We did everything right. We waited until our wedding day to kiss each other. We only held hands. We didn't mess around. We didn't have sex. We weren't sexual in any way, shape, or form. He didn't see me in a bikini. Like, I tried to do things the absolute perfect way. I tried to honor my future husband before I had him. I tried to honor myself, tried to be a good example to young girl. Like, I tried to do everything right, and I still got it wrong. And I look back and I have not necessarily regrets, but lessons that I've learned that I want to help other people learn too. And one of those things is you have to talk. You have to be best friends. You have to trust each other. And after we got married, our honeymoon was not good by any stretch of the imagination. We were two strangers, and he, like I said, had been living a double life that I didn't know anything about. And so there was separation. He was abandoning me. He was rejecting me. He was pushing me away at a time when you're supposed to be joining together, at a time when you're supposed to be sealing the deal, if you will. You know, you're supposed to be, what is it? Something your vows, not renewing your vows. Something your vows when you're supposed to two become one, all that fun stuff. And we weren't. We weren't kissing, we weren't holding hands, we weren't being romantic on our honeymoon. And you're like, what? That's weird. Yeah, I know, it's very weird. And after we got back from our honeymoon, I cried myself to sleep pretty much every night. And we were in Hawaii, most beautiful place ever, and I was miserable. And I was praying and just crying. And there was one time that I prayed that God would kill me. I literally prayed that because I was so miserable and I thought I had made such a mess of my life. And, you know, I had always dreamed of getting married. I had always dreamed of having what my mom and dad have and having a best friend. And I felt like I royally ruined my life. And when I finally found out why my new husband was rejecting me and betraying me and pushing me away and abandoning me, it broke my heart, because he was in sexual addiction and he was in a pornography addiction, and he was doing drugs and drinking alcohol and partying and doing all of the things that he said that he would never do. And it broke my heart, not because I was necessarily, I was disappointed, but the bigger thing for me was that he didn't trust me with the truth. We were in marriage counseling. I shared some really hard, tough things about my life and about sins and about things I wasn't proud of. And I shared that openly and honestly because I wanted to have spiritual nakedness with him. And I wanted him to know my soul and my heart, so that when we got married, we would truly be a team. We would truly be one flesh. And listen, I'm not bashing him. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I'm not. I'm a little too sassy for my own good. But I was honest. And I did want to start off our marriage as friends, trusting each other. And one of the things I was the most heartbroken about was in our marriage counseling that he didn't tell me the struggles that he was facing. I shared a lot of the struggles that I was facing, and he didn't tell me. He didn't share those things with me. And I told him, I said, I wish you would have told me prior to us getting married, because I feel like we could have dealt with these issues and we could have went to more counseling and we could have really unpacked that, so that when we started our marriage, this hadn't tarnished our marriage before it even started. I went to a betrayed hearts group for women that had been cheated on. He went to a healthy sexuality group at the church, and we tried to make it work. We separated. We were separated for about 6 months. He said he changed. He said he was fixing himself and he was really close to God, and we got back together. And then he did it again, and he started getting verbally abusive, and he started just being real mean. And I cried myself to sleep every night, and I prayed that God would kill me. And, and not brutally, I was just like, God, let me not wake up. Like, this is a nightmare. Like, I just want this to be over. And then one night, I was sitting in my bed praying, and God's like, Ashley Dawn, I love you. Stop praying for that. And then I was like, okay, well, I pray that he don't wake up. And then God's like, hey, you can't pray that people don't wake up. That's not nice. That's not who I created you to be. Don't be mean. And listen, this is getting real and being real. I'm not proud of this, but it's the truth. And I just started praying for him. I got Stormy O'Martin, or I think that's how you say her name, The Power of the Praying Wife. And I just started praying over him night and day, non-stop. God, heal his heart, heal his mind, heal his thoughts. Bless him from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. Help him be a leader. Help him be strong in the Lord. Help him have discernment. Help him know what's right from wrong, and help him not to be, led astray by a wanton woman, or, like, God bless him. And I started praying, and I really took his sins on my back as if I was Jesus, and I really made myself a doormat, and I was like, I just want to help him. I just want to help him. And I really lost myself in the process. And I lost a lot of weight. I was like 80 pounds. I was pooping blood. This is just getting real. Like, I was sick. I was in the hospital. And the doctor kept asking me, like, what's wrong? Like, there's nothing physically wrong with your body. Are you under a lot of stress? Are you being abused? And I'm like, well, I'm not physically being abused, but verbally, yeah. I live with a tyrant. And, we talked about it, and we started going to counseling again. And we thought that it was going to be better, and it wasn't. And like I said, I'm not trying to put my ex down. I think he's a great person. Obviously, I married him. I fell in love with him. But I just don't think, it's very hard to fall in love with somebody when they're not their true self. And it's very hard to fall in love with somebody that's hiding who they really are from you, because you don't have a chance to love who they really are. And vice versa, they don't have a chance to love who you really are because they're too busy hiding the truth of who they are. So anyway, do I think he's going to have a beautiful relationship? Yes. I hope one day that he finds the love of his life and they ride off into the sunset happily ever after. And I hope the same for me. But patterns prove the truth. So if somebody says that they're going to change and their patterns don't change, they're not going to change. If somebody cheats on you and their patterns don't change, they're not going to change. Yes, I believe in forgiveness. Yes, I believe that everybody can change. I believe in second chances. However, I also believe that patterns don't change. Like patterns do change, but patterns don't lie. Habits, right? People that are, stuck in addiction, until their lives change, until their habits change, the addiction is always going to be a problem until they do something different. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, I, for 3 years, off and on really, was doing the same thing, expecting different results. Here, go, because you're just going to cut me off anyway. Go. What are you doing? I wish I could teach the world how to drive. I really wish I could. That'd be great. Anyway, stay in your lane, buddy. So the biggest thing that I would give to people dating is be honest, be real, be who you are. My dad used to say all the time, just be honest. It saves you so much trouble. It saves you so much hassle. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has some habit of some kind, some addiction of some kind. I'm addicted to caffeine. I love soda. It's not good for you. It's not good for your teeth. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. I know, but I'm addicted to it and I like it. And I'm probably going to get a soda at lunch today. I know my addictions. I know myself. And sometimes I try to drink a little bit more water, and I try to maybe order a soda that doesn't have caffeine, like a root beer or a cream soda or, like a Sprite. But at least I'm honest about it. Be honest about where you are, where you want to go, and where you've been. No, you don't have to live in the past, but be honest about your past if you're dating somebody. Be truthful. The worst thing in the world that you can do, especially in the beginning of a relationship, any time in the relationship, but especially in the beginning, is lie. Because once that trust is broken, it's very hard to ever get it back. It's very hard to regain that trust once it's broken. I already have trust issues. One of my friends the other day asked me if I had a dating profile, what would it say? Like, what are your green flags? What are your your red flags. And I was like, well, my green flags are I'm very old fashioned. I have a good heart. I'm hilarious. I laugh at all my own jokes. I'm a goofball. I don't take myself too seriously. Very confident. And I love people. I try to love people like Jesus, and I'm honest. You won't have to wonder what I'm thinking, because I'll tell you. You won't have to wonder what I'm doing, because I'll tell you. And if I ever want to cheat on you, I just break up with you, because I don't believe in cheating. I don't believe in lying. Again, I'm not perfect. Have I ever lied in my life? If I go through everything I've ever said, maybe. Recently, no. I try very hard to be honest in a kind way. And then she said, okay, well, what are your red flags? And I said, well, I got too much sass for my own good. I'm addicted to caffeine, Coca-Cola specifically. And I'm obsessed with leopard print. And I have major trust issues. From people lying to me in the past, from people living double lives, I have major trust issues. I know that's something I have to overcome. I make no excuses for that. I know that's not a good quality to have. But that resulted from me being too trusting in the past. And so I have to learn boundaries. I have to learn healthy boundaries to trust people, but not at the expense of myself. To give people chances, but not to roll myself out as a doormat and let them wipe their feet on me. And you might have to do the same. And that's why I'm sharing this video, because I want to help people be more real. I want to help people know that you're not the only one struggling. You're not the only one that has questions. You're not the only one that struggles with insert thing here. I'm 39 years old and I'm single and I don't have kids and I'm not married. And those are two things that I always thought I would be. I was engaged in high school. I was 18 years old and engaged to my high school sweetheart and thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with him. And guess what? He lied a whole bunch and he pretended to be something that he wasn't. And I found out multiple times that he wasn't going to change. It is what it is. My life is a reflection of my choices that I have made and God's goodness. And despite my choices that I have made, God is still good and God is still doing good things in my life. And I was thinking about it today on my way to work, just about, goodness gracious, how good he's been to me and how much he's protected my heart. Listen, I have fallen in love with people, or so I thought, and he has been like, nope, not happening. And I'm like, but God, they're so cute and they're so sweet and they love you and they go to church. And he's like, nope. And then a couple years later, I'm like, I see why. I see why you said no. God has protected me, and God's going to protect you too. If you give him your heart, trust in the Lord with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength. When you do that, he will protect you. He will make your path straight. He will illuminate where you should go. Will he give you, the whole map before you get there? No. He'll give you turn by turn directions. Turn right. Turn left. Go straight. Turn around. Make a U-turn. But he will not give you the whole map. And I'm so thankful that he won't give me the whole map, because I probably would never go on the road trip if he did. I'd probably be like, oh, God, I don't really want to go there. I'd rather go to Hawaii. I'd rather go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'd rather go to Lake Tahoe. I'd rather go to Wells, Maine. There's a million places that I would rather go than the place of heartbreak, than the place of betrayal, than the place of hurt or neglect or abandonment. There's a whole bunch of places I would rather go than any of those things. And so when I look at that and I'm like, okay, God, are you trying to get all the way over and cut me off? I think you are. I have just learned through my life and through God's goodness that what he has for me is far better than anything that I could think of on my own. I can trust him. And honestly, sometimes, I look in the Bible where Paul said it's better to be single if you can. If you're not burning with lust and passion, be single. And I'll be real, sometimes I have burned with a little bit of lust and a little bit of passion. I'm like, man, God, I'd really like to be married. And God's like, the timing, it's not my timing. And I've been like, well, you're going to have to do something about these hormones. You're going to have to do something about my feelings and my mind and temptations and lust. And you're going to have to, please, Jesus, help me with something. And he does. And I ask him all the time, turn off that switch. Just turn it off. Don't even turn it on until you're going to bring a husband in my life, because I'm not trying to sin against you. I'm not trying to make mistakes. Have I made mistakes before? I surely have. I am not perfect. I am absolutely not perfect. But do I want to make mistakes moving forward? I absolutely do not. I want to glorify God. I want to live a life that if it was on trial and if God had every piece of evidence, my life would prove my belief in God. My life would prove what I believe to be true about the Holy Spirit, because it would be evident in the way that I live my life. Again, am I perfect? No. That's why Jesus died for me. If I was perfect, he wouldn't have had to. But I don't use that as a license to sin. I don't use that as a license to break God's heart. And so I just want to encourage you. Yes, you may have gone through a divorce. Yes, you may have gone through betrayal, infidelity, heartbreak. Your life isn't over. When I was 25 and I got married, I thought that the sky would always be sunshine and rainbows, especially if I was married. And I realized at 28, when I got divorced, that that was not the case. And I realized at 29 and 30, when I lost my daddy. I mean, I didn't lose him. I know he's in heaven, but I lost his presence on earth in a way that I knew it previously. And I thought, God, how will I ever live? How will I live after a divorce? How will I live after my daddy goes to heaven? How will I live after that person that I loved cheats on me, lies to me, betrays me? How will I live after that friend stabs me in the back? How will I live? It makes me think of the Leanne Rhyme song. How do I live without you? I want to know. How do I dream without you? If you only know. That's probably not the words. And I'm not the best singer, but I just thought that was funny, and it made probably you laugh or smile or both. Anyway, how do I go on when life hurts, when life breaks, when life changes? Well, you cling to God, and you understand that God's plans for you are far above any of your own. Am I single at 39? I absolutely am. And do I look at my life and thank God every single day for what he's doing and now and forever in my life? Absolutely. God has been so good to me, and he's going to keep being good to me even when life isn't perfect. And I would say the more that life isn't perfect, the more that I get to see God's goodness. Because it's in those moments that I look for him the most, that I'm on my knees praying, that I'm like, God, I need you. I need you to fix my thoughts. I need you to fix my mind. I need you to fix my hormones. I need you to fix my heart. Help me to be a loving person. Help me to be kind. Help me not to get bitter. Help my heart not to harden. Help me to still trust people even when they drive me crazy. Have you ever been on a road trip? Most of the best memories, me and my daddy used to take road trips every summer. It was my favorite thing that we did. I wish we had cameras more back then, because I would have really loved to have more pictures of those moments, but those pictures are in my mind. I loved the road trip, but it wasn't the destination that I loved so much. It was the journey. It was stopping at south of the border. It was stopping at our favorite little rest stops and getting the little cups with hot cocoa. It was stopping at Church's Chicken, or Choo Choo Chicken. It was Choo Choo Chicken, and I believe it was in Georgia, and it was my favorite little chicken spot, and we would stop every year. I miss those moments. I miss stopping and looking at the sunrises and the sunsets. I miss our playlists and singing together and laughing and just joking and having a good old time. Like, I miss that. But it was the journey that I missed the most, that I had the most fun. It was those moments where my dad had a step-side van. He always had vintage cars. That's probably why I love them so much. That is why I love them so much. And he had a step-side van. It was an old milk van, and he had it all airbrushed up because he was an artist and he was a muralist. And it was the coolest thing ever. And so we're driving on I-75, and I learned to drive on the interstate when I was 9 years old. I know that's illegal, but I've done a lot of illegal things. And so a lot of times our vehicles would break down. They were old, and we didn't have a whole lot of money, and so we're trying to fix it ourselves. And I remember standing on the side of the road with jumper cables, hoping that somebody would stop for us, or getting AAA to come out and tow us, or when our drive shaft broke and we had to get towed to the nearest place. I remember those moments. Those are like key moments in my life that I go back and I kind of laugh at now. I didn't laugh at the time, but it's those moments where something bad happened, when something didn't go the way that it was supposed to go, when something went wrong. It's in those moments that I'm like, God was there. The journey is often so overlooked, especially in the waiting, because we want to be at our destination. We want to get married. We want to have a family. We want to have children. We want to have a house. We want all these things and all these dreams and all these goals. And yes, those dreams and goals are wonderful and they're great, but it's the journey to get there that is the most important, and often what we miss the most. The journey. Are we grateful for the journey? Are we expectant for the journey? Are we talking to God through the journey? Is the journey special to us? Or are we just trying to get through it so we can get to the thing that we think that we want the most? Because I guarantee you, when you get to the thing that you think you want the most, when you get to that goal, when you accomplish that dream, you're going to look back and wish you would have taken more time on the journey. You're going to wish you would have taken more time to look around and enjoy the scenery on the way there. Because we're flawed humans. We're always thinking about the next big thing, right? You have a baby and you're thinking, I can't wait till the baby turns 1. I can't wait till the baby goes to kindergarten. I can't wait till the baby goes to middle school. I can't wait till the baby goes to high school. I can't wait till the baby graduates. I can't wait till they get married. I can't wait till they have their own baby. And then you look up at your life and you're like, I was always looking to the next thing. I was never looking right now. Or you start dating somebody, right? And you're like, I can't wait till we get engaged. I can't wait till we get married. I can't wait till we have babies. But you miss the journey. You miss the experience. So if I can encourage you in 2 things. 1, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the experience, even in the things that don't necessarily go the way that you want them to. And then 2, make time for God. Bring God into the journey. He's already there, but invite him to be a part of it with you. Invite the conversation so that you guys can be besties, so that you can talk to him, so that you can trust in him, so that you can rely on him, so that you can hear those sweet whispers in the middle of the night, those sweet whispers in the middle of the morning that remind you that you're on the right track, that remind you that you're not alone, that remind you that God has good plans for you, that he has plans to help you succeed and to give you a purpose and a plan and a future. It's in those moments that the good stuff is. There was an old Kenny Chesney song that I used to sing. It was like my favorite when it first came out, and it's the good stuff. Look for the good stuff. Look for the God stuff. The stuff that it could only be explained that it's from God. Look for that. I love you. God loves you. God loves you way more than I do. Hallelujah. You are seen. You are celebrated. You are loved. You have been given an incredible journey. Don't miss it. Don't be so focused on your destination that you forget to enjoy the scenery that you're in right now, the season that you're in right now. Spend time with God. Talk to him. Get to know him. Get to know his spirit. Get to know his goodness. Get to know what he wants for you and the desires that he has for you. Get to know him. Spend time with him. Enjoy the journey. I promise you it'll be worth it. I love you. I'll catch you in the next one.